So it's great to see you, great to be back in person at the Agents of Change Summit. I'm extremely excited to talk to you about Reddit and how we can use the power of community and the Reddit platform to drive meaningful behavior change. If you walk away with nothing else from what I share with you today, I hope it's this. Reddit is where people find community, it's where they seek knowledge, and it's at the intersection of community and the trust that can be created in those communities and seeking knowledge that the greatest level of behavior change can take place. So let's dive in. But first, I have some participation required ahead. Show of hands, do we have any Redditors in the room? Okay, all right, great. For those uninitiated, Reddit is organized around communities called subreddits. And sometimes, subreddits clearly identify themselves. Bread stapled to trees. Birds with arms. Vocab word of the day, very straightforward. But sometimes they don't. So we're going to play a little game I like to call Guess That Subreddit. Are you ready? All right, let's go. Okay, r/Super Bowl. Seems pretty straightforward. No? Wait, okay, interesting. Welcome to the world of owls and owl lovers. Superb owls, everyone. Okay, next up, r/OnlyFans. Any guesses? I mean, it's obvious, right? Welcome to the world of fans, large, small, ceiling, or otherwise. And the last one, eye bleach. Oh, wait, can you see it? Oh, eye bleach. Last but not least, eye bleach. It sounds very uncomfortable, but any guesses what this could be? Yes, home to content that makes you want to cry. I'm not crying, you're crying. Thank you so much for playing. It's a fun and whimsical game, but it does really lead me to an important point. So on Reddit, people connect with an interest, not an individual. When you think about all the social media platforms that exist today, on some you're connected to every person you've ever met. On others you might be connected just to your best friends. And then you could have another one where you're kind of connected to all the business professional folks out there. On Reddit, the organizing principle is not people you know, but communities of people who share your passions and your interests. That, combined with the idea that Reddit is pseudo-anonymous, right? I don't have to be Adam Yates on Reddit. I have a username, and that really does empower people not just to join communities that are tailored to their interests, but also frees them to be truly their authentic selves, right? So you can go onto Reddit, and you can pose questions that are difficult, that are vulnerable, that are hard. Conversely, you can also answer questions from other Redditors that are part of that community that might also be difficult or hard. And you can do it in an open, honest, and authentic way, despite not knowing anyone in those communities. So for me, my day on Reddit starts on the largest subreddit for dads, Daddit, right? So I can go and see what other dads are dealing with. I can pose questions of some of the challenges I have raising my 3 kids. And it's just a very rich place for parents to go. I can go to Data is Beautiful, because who doesn't love a good infographic? Especially the folks in this room. Then I can go over to r/eczema. My youngest son suffers from eczema. He gets flare-ups, and it's just a great resource to hear from other folks on how to troubleshoot that particular issue and ease his pain. And then I can go over to Explain It Like I'm 5. I'm here more often than I care to admit, but it's really useful for explaining complex topics in a very simple way that I can then explain to my 5-year-old like they're 5. So this whole idea of Reddit is an organizing principle that we maintain is this idea of we versus me, right? So it means something different than on other platforms. when you are actually who you say you are, it creates, an environment where it's about people you know or know of. It's social validation, it's polished, it's sanitized, it's curated, and there's nothing wrong with that. But on Reddit, while we focus on that interest-based community experience, right, you get deep discussion, you get authenticity, you get realness, you get humanity. And that's one of the superpowers that we have here at Reddit. And our platform experience supports that general concept of we versus me. So that idea of community, you're connecting to communities, not to individual people. Voting, Reddit runs on votes by real people, not algorithms. So answers are upvoted or downvoted, so you're always going to get the best answer to a particular question rising to the top. Karma. People get karma when folks upvote or downvote or comment on the comments that they've made. Comments, right, so we reward the conversational, not the idea of the sensational. And lastly, and I mentioned it again, identity. Reddit lets you overshare without ever revealing your name or passing back your PII. And that general concept, right, a community of communities really resonates with people. Today we have over 100,000 different communities on the platform and 500 million unique monthly users globally. And as you can see from this diagram, this illustration, this is just a handful of some of the subreddits that deal with health and wellness on the platform. Even yesterday, sitting and listening to some of the presentations, there's a subreddit dedicated to suicide watch. It's called r/suicide watch, and there are over 400,000 members of that community whose job it is to help people who are struggling with whether it's mental health or the idea of suicidal thoughts or the people around those individuals. The scale of that community is incredible, and the support people get is amazing and second to none. So we recently partnered with a market research group called TalkShop to better understand the unique role of Reddit in the lives of media users as compared to other platforms. One of the many things we confirmed by that study is that Reddit is the #1 platform for community as it relates to the 4 tenets of community today. So membership. So belonging on Reddit is based on your passions and interests, not social connection. Influence. Having a shared, meaningful experience or relationships. And ultimately, the idea of need fulfillment. And this is what really matters to me most, is that people feel that Reddit is actually good for their mental health and well-being. It's pretty extraordinary, and I think, again, something that's very powerful in the social media landscape today. So Reddit is where opinions are formed, right? People come to Reddit with purposeful intention to find out more about a topic from who knows it best. It could be peers, it could be subject matter experts, it could be companies, or it can be governmental agencies who are designed to help those people solve their problems. And in fact, the #1 reason, motivating factor for people to come to Reddit is to be informed, which is a pretty powerful statistic. And as we know, authenticity encourages trust. People trust the information they get on Reddit. Again, that is our superpower. Right there, this graph basically describes the percentage of people, percentage of trust each platform has in driving individuals to buy new products or brands, and Reddit appears on the far left. That's actually ahead of Google and Amazon, which are synonymous with product purchase, and there is no paid influencer promotions on the platform or 5-star reviews. This is a great example of that at work. In the fall of 2022, we partnered with the Department of Health and Human Services. At the time, they were heavily invested in getting Americans vaccinated while also combating vaccine misinformation. So we thought, what better way to do that than to have an AMA, which is an Ask Me Anything, with the Surgeon General of the United States, Dr. Murthy. So over the course of about a week, Redditors could submit their questions to Dr. Murthy, and then over the course of an hour, he answered those questions from Redditors, which ranged from timelines for vaccines for children under the age of 5 to what led him to public service. All in all, the AMA plus the associated campaign reached over 100 million. We had 100 million impressions for the campaign and reached over 27 million unique Americans on the platform. So as I mentioned, community breeds trust and conversation. Trusted information leads to informed decisions, and in many cases, important health and wellness-related changes in behavior. And I wanted to give you kind of a sense of the scale of the conversations that are taking place on Reddit today. So in this slide, in the last month alone, you can see there were 95 million screen views in just the mental health communities that I've highlighted here. So every day, Redditors turn to mental health subreddits for the feeling of community, for that feeling of not being alone. Same goes for parenting subreddits. These are all my pictures of my kids, by the way, just for fun. You can see 118 million screen views just for these subreddits, and there are dozens and dozens more for parents on the platform. And lastly, this is an example, 110 million monthly screen views associated with these communities dedicated to wellness. And that's nutrition, that's getting fit. There's countless numbers of communities that you can tap into to get your message across on Reddit. Speaking of which, there are a number of ways to participate in the conversations taking place on the platform. We offer a number of targeting options for advertising your message. For me, the most important area to focus on is communities and interest groups, which is an interest group is just a large group of subreddits that you can tap into. To give you a sense of that scale, just within our healthy living interest group alone, there's over 458 million monthly screen views. So the scale is huge. The audience is calibrated to listen to your message, to learn. And again, I think it's just such a big opportunity for the mission of the people in this room. That scale, the trust, it's an incredible canvas for delivering a message of support, empowerment, and ultimately change. So with that, I hope you remember Reddit is where people find community. It's where they seek knowledge. And in my opinion, it's where behavior has the best chance of changing. So if you're interested in learning more, go to redditforbusiness.com or please reach out to me directly and we'll get you pointed in the right direction. Thank you so much.